All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome here on this still a bit cloudy day in Paderborn. I hope it's going to be sunny later or even probably tomorrow. This is already the fourth collab here at the Paderborn University, and I'm beyond grateful to be part of it again. My name is Lea Hansjürgen. I'm a moderator for live events, and I'm especially in innovation ecosystems. I used to work here at the Startup Center for several years, and I'm now, working in diverse event scenarios. And it's again like this collab is based on this European idea of coming together and having encounters and actually living Europe here in Paderborn. It's not only Brussels, it's not only the blue flag with the yellow stars. It's what we are doing here today and in the upcoming days. And that's why I welcome you in my hometown as well, here in Paderborn. And I'm handing at first over to the president of the Paderborn University. He's at the Paderborn University as a president since April 2025. His background is in chemistry, and he previously held the chair of Inorganic Chemistry of Sustainable Processes and served as research dean of the Faculty of Science. Sustainability isn't just today's theme for him, because literally it's his research title as well. So I guess the perfect person to open a collab on frugal innovation in food production and green transition. Warm welcome, Professor Dr. Matthias Bauer.
tomorrow make use of the opportunity to network with the diverse actors from trade, industry, research, and the public. Network across our regions, because only within a network we can create sustainable impact and learn from each other. This event is directed at researchers, students, staff, but also at civil society, business, and public administration from all our Colors partner regions. If we want to advance sustainable food production, we need the farmer who provides the technology, we need the startup founder who designs innovative business models, and we need the politician who creates the legal framework. And of course, we need the citizen who sets the direction through their purchasing behavior. Only when all these groups sit at the same table in the co-lab, in the hackathon, at the field study, we can achieve real progress. I'm a strong advocate for this open form of science and participatory action. The university must be open to society's questions. Of course, that's clear. We need to be more open for society's questions, and we must have the courage not only to find solutions, but to test and implement them together with society. We face monumental tasks. The way we feed ourselves will determine whether we meet our climate goals, whether we save biodiversity, and whether we have a healthy population. This task is huge and is, of course, a task which is related to sustainability. And it can feel somehow, of course, overwhelming. And therefore, for our collab, we have chosen the frugal approach. We do not need to wait until the perfect, infinitely expensive solution exists. We can start today with what we have, with what we can already achieve. We can begin with the innovative, scalable, and social solutions that are close to us. And that is exactly what we aim to do today, tomorrow, and the day after. Use the research expertise present here. Use the opportunity of the hackathon to sharpen your ideas. Use the field study to feel the space of possibilities. And above all, use the time here to find new partners, for innovation rarely emerges in isolation. It emerges in dialogue, for example, in the collab. So with this, I wish you inspiring discussion, courageous ideas, and meetings that strengthen your network for the hours and days ahead. May your exchange with the researchers, with the startups as the festival, and with your colleagues from Paderborn, Sweden, Italy, and Greece be enriching. Is this the time to shut up? I very much hope that the discussion today will lead to approaches that make future food production more sustainable, healthier, and of course fairer. I wish you all a great enjoyment and inspiration during the panel discussions, the keynotes, the workshops, and the field study. So now it's time to get ready. And I now hand over to the organizing team. And I thank you all for your patience and attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for the welcoming words here from the official perspective of Paderborn University. I'm just getting my laptop on top again. And this is actually a slide. And there are 3 days ahead. And we will take a look at the agenda briefly with the 2 organizers who made this possible. It's the 4th time, as I said, and I welcome on stage Alena Dietrich and Christine Hante-Koch to just briefly talk what is going on in the upcoming days. Welcome.
I'll use the microphone so the audience online can also hear me, I think. So my name is Christine, and this is my colleague Alena, and we are co-space officers from Paderborn University, but we are responsible for bringing together our region and all the regions and universities of our Colors partner universities. And as you said, Leah, this is our program for the next couple of days. So today, we are in the collab phase, so we're in the phase where we're exploring the challenges that are related to food production and green transition. And then in the afternoon, we will start actually working on it hands-on in a workshop in the workshop room over there, where we will explore or dive deeper into those challenges. And then tomorrow we will do some ideation. So we will start finding solutions in the morning. And in the afternoon, we will be building a prototype, one of my favorite parts. And then on Thursday, we will actually be presenting our 3-day hackathon solutions to a broader international audience. We'll have some people coming over from college partner universities who want to hear about what we've achieved in those days. And then in the afternoon, before the field study, we will be doing a practical implementation plan, so kind of roadmap and how to actually implement those solutions. And then, of course, as we've heard already, we will be going on a wonderful field trip. So thank you so much for the invitation, Britta Schattenberg. That will be a wonderful opportunity for everybody. I don't know, Alena, do you want to add anything?
Nothing to add.
Should I repeat for the audience online? If you have any questions on the next days, you can come up to Christine or to Leah or to myself, and we can find a solution for your small problem. Okay.
I have a question because, I mean, the whole topic, frugal innovation, what is your personal connection to it? Why do you find it interesting to do frugal innovation?
Yeah, what I like a lot about it is that it's this different approach to innovation. So usually when people hear innovation, they think about, California-style innovation where there's a lot of investors and they are looking for the perfect startup, and maybe they are even a bunch of them hoping that one of them will be successful and that it can be resold. But frugal innovations is different because we don't really need that many investors. We don't want the people who just want to make money with this. Okay, we are actually interested in finding solutions, and that's why we're thinking frugal. So we have no need to get the investors on board, but we can implement things with low resources and low costs.
That's interesting. And we have the bridge to the food production, and maybe you can say what is like your connection to food production?
Like my connection to food production is the same as Davina's because we are together in the Solavi Fausthof, and also Rainer and also Julia are members of the Solavi Fausthof. So we have a great expertise here on frugal innovations because we're doing a lot of frugal things like recycle, upcycle, or producing electricity from sold out solar panels and stuff like this. So
maybe already briefly, because Solavi is such a German word. It's even an abbreviation for solidarische Landwirtschaft. The ones not being German speaking, can you briefly describe what Solavi means?
Okay, the English term would be community-supported agriculture, which means that a group of people is supporting a farmer to produce, and everybody who's participating will get some of the veggies in our case. So
that's already a great start, because we are going to dive deeper into this exact Solavi, into the CSA today with Davina, who is also here today talking about the perspective of the agriculture. Did you want to add something?
Yes, I wanted to add something. I mean, I'm not a member of Solavi, so I don't know as much about it as Alena. But what I think is great about it is that we have this direct connection, and I think some of us talked about it already this morning. We have this direct connection between the producer and the consumer, and we don't have the people in the middle who have the opportunity to take the profits, who are just doing this for profit, but we are taking this out, and we have short ways, and we know where things go. We don't have to have a lot of transport costs. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity, and also a great way to disengage from some global market chains and monopolies, and also to make our region more resilient.
Sounds like there has been lots of thought on developing this day and these collab days. So thanks a lot, the two of you. We will see you today and later tomorrow and on Thursday in the hackathon, also with the workshop. So thanks a lot for being here, for offering this opportunity to everybody.
Thank you, Leah.
So what is ahead this morning? Maybe just have a little look at the agenda this morning. We're starting with a keynote now. Then we are doing a first panel. It's going to be the question how to change what people eat. We have 3 really interesting perspectives on that. And also 2 presentations. I will guide you through all of it. And then we will have a short break to get some caffeine and some chocolate or some sugar back into our bodies, talking about food. And then we'll go further to local food systems, a panel, and afterwards we'll have short interviews with founders, with startups, with people who have developed prototypes to products. And yeah, that's already it. That's this morning. Before we're starting with the keynote now, I would briefly like to know, that's already a tradition kind of in this collab, who is in the room. It's not that big, so we can still probably show of hands. Who came here not from Paderborn today? There are some people, yes, who came to the collab for a bit further. Okay, where do you come from? Sweden. Bielefeld. Where are you from? From Poland. Which city? Wow, great. Thanks for being here. Where are you from? You're from Paderborn and India. That's great. Good to have you here. Where are you from? Italy. There we are. And the last one? Münster. And we also have Greece here, right? Very great. So we have different perspectives from different countries. What different disciplines do we have here? Maybe we can also have a quick round. Home economist, business administration, food engineer, transfer. That sounds really amazing. Where are you? It's really hands-on, thanks. Great. Great, thanks for being here. English and philosophy, management, great. Business and marketing, industrial engineering, what do we have here? Internationalization, and computer. Great. So thanks a lot for sharing. Thanks for this very quick round of seeing who's here, because I believe the perspectives matter. You already saw who has different discipline behind, and we will bring all that into the discussion. Please be invited to participate. We will have some Q&A sessions, and every question is great. So if you have a personal thing to share or a question maybe from your country that is different to the sentences said on the panel, you're welcome to just join in the discussion. Okay, let's start with the first intro into the topic, because this morning is going to be a deep dive into the topic. We'll have the panel and a keynote. And the keynote is given by a coach at the Campus Foundry OWL. That is, we have already heard that, but the startup incubator of the University for Applied Sciences in OWL. OWL, by the way, is our region here. Ostwestfalen-Lippe, brief OWL, OWL. OWL, that's sometimes a bit funny to see how internationals react to it. And that is even then located at the Innovation Campus Lemgo. She is a trained food technologist with 14 plus years in the food industry, for example, in food product development at Fuchs Gewürze. She works at the exact intersection of our co-lab, so food production meets entrepreneurship. Please welcome Britta Schattenberg.
Ich kann aber auch einfach wahrscheinlich einfach Leertaste, ne? So hi, as you already heard, I'm Britta, so I'm so glad to be here today. I'm very happy to tell you something about frugal innovation from my perspective and for the future of food startups, because I'm, as you already heard, I'm a food coach at our university in Lemgo. Together with a colleague of mine, Alima, we are responsible for the food lab and for all the startups working in this area. And with area, we are talking about food, but also, of course, beverages. There's also cosmetics, pharmaceutics, supplements, of course, also a bit of agriculture, not so often, but sometimes. All these areas, so we are working on it. And just up front, you heard something, but maybe a bit more insights about me, because that will be part of the presentation as well. I am an expert in food. I have studied food engineering years ago, and then I had a couple of years in the industry. Meanwhile, more than 20. And I was working in R&D and in applications and in tech support European-wide. So I was responsible for several countries and also for two of the, let's call them big players, Nestle and Unilever, so to work with them together in their R&D departments. So in all this year, I have tasted products before the first coffee that no human should be tasting before 7 in the morning, like eel sauce with parsley in London, or like rancid frying oil in Switzerland to prove the rancidity, so really a bit of horrible stuff. And I'm still here, so you see I really love food, and now I'm teaching the teams to get their products on the market. And so coming to the story, I have, in the years in the industry and in R&D and application, I have seen this several times. So it's a true story, basically, telling no names. But it happens more than once in more than one country. There is a briefing for a new product, and basically everything is all right. There is an agency briefed. It's completed. The team is assigned. Even the visuals are approved. The packaging is already designed. The tagline is written. The CEO has signed it. Even sometimes the media slots are booked. Celebrities have signed contracts to do the marketing campaign. The budget is committed, but there's no product yet. It's just an idea, and these are not dumb industry. It's really the big players, and of course they have very good R&D people, and they make it work. But it takes months, and things change, because if you think about a packaging up front, it may not work because the R&D is designing something different, and there are chemical reasons and physical reasons that sometimes cannot be solved. So there are changes, and it's really 14, 18 months and a hell lot of money. And I was always involved in these stories, and I was always thinking, guys, don't overcomplicate it. It's just food. Try it. Try if somebody's eating it. If not, fix it and try it again. And that's where frugal innovation comes in. So that's what I just heard 2 years ago for the first time. So it's quite new to me, the concept, but I really like it. And so here you see the, I don't know if I spelled it right, Jugard. So the guy who invented the fridge from clay. So a fridge running without electricity, which is quite good in regions where electricity is not state of the art. So all the households do not have electricity, and it's working. It keeps your food fresh for several days. So it's a perfect example. So make it work somehow cleverly. That should be the idea behind R&D. And of course, the sentence "achieve more with less and share the benefits with many." Who would not agree? So frugal innovation is really something which should be on our mind. Because coming back to the story of the R&D departments, so nobody agrees on a real number, but some say 40%, some say 90% of all new products fail. And these are also including the ones from the big players with the biggest labs, the best R&D people in the world, the best marketing people in the world, and the deepest pockets. So it doesn't even matter if you spend a hell lot of money or just a little bit, the products fail. And yeah, don't stick me to the number. The numbers are very different because it's always a question, what do you define as a new product? When is a product a new product, and when does it fail? What is a fail? It's not so clear. Therefore, the numbers are between 40 and 90%, but it doesn't matter because we all agree it's too much. And in the future, we simply don't have the resources to spend a lot of money to something which is skipped in the end. And here you see some of the biggest fails, I would say, in the last years. Maybe some of you know some of the products. I do personally. I see some people agreeing. So we have Heinz ketchup in the beginning. They brought up a green one, a purple one, and a blue one. And they had basically the same problem with the Crystal Pepsi. Does someone still know Crystal Pepsi? It was in the early 90s. Yeah, it was early 90s. So I used to buy it also. But both had the problem. There were good products, so that was not a problem at the products. But people have a problem if your ketchup is green or the Coke you want to drink. It's not really Coke. The Pepsi is not brown. It does not fit. And something inside your head tells you, okay, that's not right. That's not something I should drink. So both failed. The wow chips. Even better for me as a food engineer because the technology was wow. So they created fat-free chips, so it's Lay's, but at the same time they also had P&G, so Procter & Gamble with Pringles had the same product on the market, or a similar one with the same technique. They created fat-free chips and used an ingredient called olestra to replace the fat, which was a good idea and it worked well, but the molecules of olestra were bit too big, and so it does not really end up with a wow because half of US had diarrhea in the end. So it was not really a big success. Vio, also difficult one. They spent a lot of money to get a sparkling milk drink on the market. For me, I would have said in the beginning that's not working in US and also not in most parts of Europe. It was not. To be fair, it's working in different parts of the world. So it's not really, it's just a problem where you put these things. And again, for us, sparkling milk drinks is also something where your head says, that's not good. Don't want sparkle in my milk. And the last one is one of the examples which is more out of Europe or Germany. That's one of the examples I remember the most. It was at the time when Bionade was growing. And it's still on the market. It was a German lemonade, which was more healthy, and it was organic and not so sweet, and more herbal, and not like orange lemonade. It was a bit special in the tasting. And Coke wanted to buy them, and United said no, no thanks. And then Coke said, okay, if you don't want to be part of Coke, we will create a product similar to yours, and then it will be your problem. They tried to. They launched Georgia again. Super big marketing campaign. The products were good. They were trusting well, but if you bring something on the market which it should be healthy, organic, and with a good social image, you should not be Coke. Basically, that's not working, and nobody believed the story behind it. I'm coming back to the words of the beginning. Why should we think about frugal innovation right now, and why should we stop the way we did it? Because basically, even if we had a lot of failed products, we have also good products on the market, so it worked somehow. So why now? Yeah, and it was already said. The UN predicts that we need to increase food production by 70% to feed 9 billion people by 2050, and that's not too far ahead. And the next problem, we need to do this with using less energy, creating less waste, using less water, and need less land for food production. So that will be quite difficult. Coming back to the sentence, do more with less, that fits quite well. So frugal innovation fits into that. Of course, that's the big picture. And to help on these, we really have to think in a bigger way. But I would like to also tell you something about the startups and why I think startups can change the picture here. And I'm not sure if some of you have worked already for one of the big players, for a big company. If you did, you realize quite quickly it's always like a big tank. It's moving slowly in one direction. So it's very difficult to change directions. If you do it slowly. So you have big budgets. All is like 14 months brief. Everything is planned over years. Basically, the companies are made to resist changes. They are not made to do changes. Of course, also, and they are also moving, also like frugal. If you listen to Navid from Frugal Innovation, he's also telling all the companies are trying to build up their frugal muscle. That's how he calls it, and he's comparing it with the gym. So you have to go to the gym every day, and after years, you see some of the change. So that's basically how the big ones change. And then you have these speedboats. So like us, like the startups, which are made to move quickly. And they don't have big budgets. They can change directions. They don't have 14 months brief. They just taste their product on a Tuesday. And basically they have constraints at the brief. And if you think about being a startup, then you don't even have to choose to be frugal. You have no choice. And why? Normally, especially for the food startups, you don't get an investor upfront. Maybe you get one, but that's down the road. So in the beginning, if you start, you have to be frugal because there are, for example, minimum order quantities. So that's often the case. People coming to us telling us something about a very special ingredient, which they want to use, like a special flavor. And then we ask the companies, and they are telling us, oh yeah, of course, 10 tons of the flavor. And that's a lot. So you cannot work with it. So it's not possible, and you cannot get smaller quantities. So there's one startup even doing a business out of these ones. So they built up a marketplace where startups can buy things together, which is also quite cool. But it's the same for contract fillers. So when beverage startups are coming to us also with very cool, very sustainable ideas, and they have very sustainable packaging ideas. But in the beginning, you need to have a contract filler, and if they don't run, your packaging system on their line, you have no choice. You have to start up with a bottle, or you have to invest a lot of money. So you have to design a way around it. If you dig a bit deeper in frugal innovation, you see this 6 principles, which they both pointed out. It's basically engage and iterate. So the idea of talk directly to the user. Don't do something in your lab or in your R&D department until it's ready and go on the market. Then ask them directly. That's something we apply from the beginning on, because not because of frugal innovation, it's because of lean startup. So we are teaching our startups on the lean startup method. It's of course not the same as frugal innovation, but in parts it's a bit comparable. But of course the aim is different. For our system, the idea of lean startup is to get a product to the market quickly and without wasting money, which is also part of frugal, but they don't care, basically, the method don't care about sustainability and social environment. So there is a difference, but nevertheless, the startups are always into this field. It's flex your assets, it's create sustainable solutions, so less energy, less waste, easier to recycle, so what we just discussed. It's shape customer behaviors, so change architecture, not just the product. It's co-create with your prosumers, so really treat them as co-designers, and make innovative friends. So don't do it on your own. Try to find partners. Try to find other startups. Try to find big companies, NGOs. Do it together. And I try to do 3 levels out of it, where I would like to give you an example of startups we have in our region and we have worked with, to show you where we are on frugal innovation. And of course, it's often only a part of frugal innovation, but I would like to show you the connection. And the first I wanted to point out is context. So change the context, not the consumers. That's basically coming back to the principle for shape customers' behavior. So don't try to change the minds, change the environment. And I think, I'm not sure, but at least I am guilty to buy at Amazon. I'm not sure if you all do. But why do we do it? Because it's so easy. It's so incredible easy to do it. And there's the idea coming back. Why not making something so easy as Amazon and using regional products? And that's where Wochenmarkt24 came in. It's one startup which is basically selling regional products. And the good thing is you are ordering till 6 p.m. and they are delivering till the next morning. So it's really incredible. And it's really just regional products from the regional farmers. We used to do it at home. So we really ordered till 6 p.m. Like you can order bread but also veggies, all things you can buy at the local farmers. They then try to get it right and send it to you. Our problem was it's delivered at 4 in the morning, and they are coming with these headlights. Is it called headlights? And our dog was not, so it was really a problem with our dog, because all our neighbors were then aware that we got fresh milk at 4 in the morning. So we stopped it, but the concept it's really great. Waste is a second point I want to point out. Use other one's waste as your raw material. In the food industry, we don't like the word waste. We always say side streams. Because it's really used quite often. So it's normally it's not really waste, even if it's not used for food anymore. It's used, but of course it's an interesting idea to use it not for petrol or something, really to use it, or for energy, to use it for real food products. There's one startup, PureSpore. it's a very interesting idea. They are using side streams, and they're giving it to molds. There's a mold eating it basically up. For them, it's the nutrient medium, and it's growing. And the mycel, so which is the the roots of a mold. If you think about also fungi, you have this mycel down, which is the root, and this is then harvested, and this mycel is full of veggie protein, and therefore they basically it's waste in, protein out is their idea, and it's working very well. They are right now, they got the scholarship for the next 2 years now, and they are deep in research because the mold they are using is even novel food. And the third one is trust. As we also said trust is not a feature, it's your product, and it's coming back to also make co-create with their customers. Le Moment is also a company out of Bielefeld. They are doing lemonade out of regional products, and they are really focusing on the region and on the nature, and they make you decide. For example, they had one product where 50% of the margin is going into social projects, but you as a customer could decide which social projects are used for it. So the money goes to. You even could suggest some of the social projects. So. Frugal innovation sounds nice, and it's, as I just said, the sentence sounds great, do more with less, also from the practical side. But if you think more about it, it doesn't make things easier, it makes it differently hard. And just coming back to the 3 examples, like PureSpore again, using the side streams. Using side streams sounds great, but it's difficult because waste is most of the time not really standardized. Of course, if you have a very special production, so sometimes you can have it, but most of the time it's not. It's natural products, and you have always different nutrients in. So for them, their molds, they won't grow in the same way, so you really have to find ways around it, and it's always a problem when you use side streams. Wochenmarkt 24, yeah, also sounds very great. They're delivering with e-vehicles, also nice, but nevertheless, they're bringing it to your home. That's, for me, it sounds great, but if you think again about sustainability and about carbon footprint, of course it would be better to have the people walk to the supermarket and not like this last mile problem which you always hear about. Le Moment is sourcing regional, so all the fruits for the lemonade are coming out of the region of so OWL again, so the region here again. It can be a huge problem. It sounds nice, it sounds beautiful, but when you have the first dry summer, or you have a real problem, or even not dry, even too wet, you get problems. The prices are rising. There's not enough material. You compete with other companies, so it really can make problems. Yeah, and now you may think, oh, okay. Nice to hear, but these are only local startups. It's local products. It's small businesses. That's not adding something to the big story you just said with feeding 9 billion people by 2050. And yes, it's true, of course. But for me, these are not only niche products. Even if they are, these are, for me, prototypes how we can reach this goal. It's tiny steps, but it's a beginning, and it's a beginning of the way of thinking. No, it's gone. But it was nearly the last slide. But How do I come back? Yeah. But for me, it's really it's the way I think startups can change the picture. Now it's back, and it's just small, but we need to do more and better with less, of course. But yeah, let's start up. I think startups can change the picture, and I think for them, constraints are the brief, and basically for all of us, it will be in the future. So just one sentence more, and it's not for me. I think this is summarizing it quite nicely. Any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. And I think that's what it's all about, to be more frugal.
Thanks a lot, Britta Schattenberg. Maybe just briefly stay here. I would love to know, you were talking about the gym that actually everybody should go into from the R&D section now. What would be an exercise? How could we imagine how an exercise on frugal innovation and a different mindset could look like in companies?
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult for the companies, no? But it's like the gym. They should build up the frugal muscle, and I think they have to start small, and that's maybe also with the gym. Like just put it down on the first level and raise it step by step. So build up your muscles. So even if you do it for biceps, just start with 5 kgs. And even if you think you are already the tall guy coming in and the best one. Yeah, just start small and build the muscle step by step. I think that's the name of the game.
And which role do you have from the Lemgo perspective? You have like the innovation center there, you have a focus on food startups, and how do you cooperate with companies on, I mean, frugal innovation or innovation in total in food production?
Yeah, as I just said, so I'm more focusing on the startups, but we have the Future Food Factory, which some of you will see then in 2 days when you're coming around, because some of the Tomorrow Eats is in the Future Food Factory, and the Future Food Factory is built for exactly that part. So really to have the companies coming in, to have project with them on a lot of things on energy savings, on how to be more efficient with less. So all these things are in bigger project there. More, my colleagues are more working on that than I do, but yes, it's done over there.
So tomorrow, it's on Thursday, is going to be this fair, Tomorrow Eats. Can you share what to expect there? Just briefly for the ones who are probably also joining us going there on Thursday.
Yeah, so you're all invited if you still want to join. It will be our first time to do this in Lemgo. It will be not only a trade show, we call it a festival. We will have 19 startups over there presenting their products, and it really differs from olive oil to pizza with skyr, so like a more healthy dough, to ingwer shot in ice cream format, beverages. So it's really a lot and really interesting startups. A lot of fermentation stuff you will see, and there will be keynotes in the Innovation Spin, which is the other building around there. Quite interesting ones. Also, there will be the industry will speak, the traders will speak, investors. So it's also the whole picture, and that's the idea. We want to bring all them together to network basically, and to get the products on the market sooner and better.
So a great ecosystem gathering. That's what I hear from it. So Tomorrow Eats on Thursday. Thanks so much, Britta Schattenberg, for sharing your perspective. Yes. We are going on with our next program. Well, maybe I can just hand it over to you because, yes. Maybe. Because maybe a quick show of your hands again. Who of you have ever decided to eat more healthy and sustainable? All of you? Okay, keep the hands up. Who of you made it over 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? Well, let's say it's not always that easy. Hands up for all these people who actually managed to make a habit from it. But there is a gap in from this intention of, oh, I want to be more sustainable and eat more healthy, to what we are actually doing. So the question is, how free is our choice? The price tag decides before we do. When the sustainable option costs double, the choice is kind of luxury, right? Also, the supermarket layout decides what's at eye level, what's at the entrance, what's on offer, all design, nothing accidental, usually. Habits and culture decide. So what we grew up with, who cooked, what was cooked, when did we eat, what did we eat, and so forth. That is kind of the normal to us, our default. And also time and money decide. Cooking from scratch assumes you have an evening and a full fridge. So in short, the choice kind of feels free, but it's shaped long before we reach the kitchen. And that's actually what we want to talk about now with our first panel, and dive deeper into the research and also into different perspectives on this question of choice. So at first we're starting with 2 little presentations to set the wording, to get an introduction into how we can talk about it. And then we will start the panel afterwards. So the first panelist and also presenter I would like to introduce is a nutritional scientist. She teaches household socioeconomics and everyday living at the Institute for Nutrition, Consumption and Health here at the University of Paderborn. Her career spans the whole food and everyday life spectrum. She did nutrition research in Santiago de Chile, environment and health research in Munich, an international Nutrition Research Foundation, and she has some more years in teaching at the University of Osnabrück. On this panel, she contributes the view from everyday kitchens, which is sometimes kind of forgotten because it's something that's so normal and so common, and also about budgets and routines, where just choose better means real households with real constraints. Welcome, Gabi Börries. Yes, you can use this, or, yeah. And here is the microphone.
Okay.
Do you want to keep it, or?
Yeah, keep it there. It's okay.
Great.
Okay. So thank you very much for inviting me. And what I'm trying to do now is to present to you the private household perspective. So why do we buy and eat what we buy and eat? What influences our decisions? And what can we do to change those consumption patterns towards a more sustainable choice? So to start with, this is something we work with this model in our working group. We all grow up in families. We all grow up in private households. And in those private households, there are thousands of decisions made every day. And what influences these decisions? Why do we decide as we decide? And first of all, I want to mention the resources. So our everyday life is shaped by the resources we have. Not all of us have the same amount and the same resources. We all differ in our household structure. So with resources, it's not only meant the resource of money, of course, that's obvious, but also time, education, and health are important for our decisions. But then we grow up and have our values and attitudes socialized in our family, in our environment. And according to our values and attitudes, we choose our consumption pattern. For example, we choose a certain kind of clothes to wear. And this is kind of expressing our personality and our status. So consumption has to do a lot with our identity, our idea of who we are. And we are not isolated entities in middle of nowhere, but we are embedded in our community. We are embedded in an infrastructure, and it makes a difference what supermarkets offer. The supermarket nearby, what food choice is possible there is important. And of course, we are all embedded in a society with its culture and its politics, and that shapes the conditions that we can choose from. This is the start, the framework for all of us. And of course, I also want to draw the attention to the increasing group of people in our societies that have really a challenge to manage their everyday life with the resources they have, because the resources get scarce and they are vulnerable, and they need help to manage the task they are given. Well, I also want to draw the attention to a special resource. It's time. Time is crucial to manage our everyday life, and even more crucial if we want to change our lifestyle. So time in private households is also a resource that is gendered. So it still is very female coded who does the unpaid care work in a private household. It's also more the majority of those working in paid care work positions, also women. So this is still kind of a gender question. And we have a gender care gap, so the women spend significantly more time per day in unpaid work at home, care work, than men. And care work also, part of the care work is all the food matters. Who manages, who thinks about the management of food matters in private households? It's majority of them are women. So we have a large amount, and many of us, I think, would also say they are part of it, that we have not enough time for the things we want to do. But we need time to make informed choices in the supermarkets. So we have a maze of labels on food items, and I mean, you need time to inform yourself and to process what the labels mean, and then you can make your choice at the supermarket. Who understands the Nutri-Score? Yeah, so who really? We need time to think about it. So I want to. There's another concept, another phenomenon I really want to stress here, and it's called the citizen-consumer gap, or the attitude or intention behavior gap. That's what we observe when we ask people. The majority of people say, yes, we want a more sustainable and healthy diet. That's what we were asked here as well. But then when it comes to the situation in the supermarket, why don't we purchase the food that is that would be fit for this intention? And for example, we all are in favor of animal welfare, but many people, when they are in the supermarket, they buy the cheapest option. And when I ask my students who are future teachers, and they're gonna teach home economics, they're gonna teach sustainability and I asked them how important sustainability is for you in your life, in your private level, but also as in your future profession. They say, yes, it's very important. Of course, they say that because they know that I want to hear that. But I think some of them are really convinced. And then I asked them, okay, how do you think your lifestyle is already kind of sustainable? And they say, yes. And would you like to live in a more sustainable way? Yes. And then I asked them what prevents you from doing so. And then they say, okay, we are students. We don't have money. And a sustainable lifestyle is expensive. And some also say, how do we recognize the sustainable choice? Isn't it all greenwashing? Is it really, how do we know? Yeah. And some say, well, some of my consumption habits, they are so dear to me and close to, I need them and I can't change them. And we have dietitians here, they can tell a story about that, how difficult it is to change habits and how inconvenient in the beginning to change our lifestyle. And then also they say, well, what can I do about more? I know that using my car is not sustainable, but I'm living in a small village. There's no public transport. How do I get to places? So also another reason can be that we are losing our skills in the kitchen. And many people know that eating chickpeas and lentils is sustainable and healthy, but they don't know how to prepare them. And the students tell me that, well, it's easy to choose a sustainable and healthy diet when they are at university. We have a very good Mensa. I hope they have the chance to experience that. And they offer vegetarian and vegan meals, and very tasty meals. And but when they come home to their peers, to their family, it's different. And then they don't want to stick out. And so they go back to their old routines. So these are some of the factors that influence our choices. And I'm looking forward to our panel discussion to see how can we bridge this gap? How can we push people to a more sustainable and healthy diet? Thank you.
Thank you, Gabi Börries. We will see you on the panel briefly, but we are now going further with another presentation from Sweden. I'm already starting the slideshow. So he is Professor of Business Administration with focus on marketing and retailing at Kristianstad University in Sweden. He has 20 plus years research experience on how retail actually works. Sustainability, sourcing, store formats, internationalization, and he is also part of the Center for Food, Health and Retail. His research hits the heart of our panel today as well. He studies the attitude-behavior gap, why consumers say they want sustainable, healthy, local food, and the reason why they actually have struggles to stay on track. He has the view from inside the system, the one who can tell us what supermarkets know about us that we probably don't really know. So welcome on stage, Professor Jens Hultmann.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here. As Leah said, I've been working in the retail sector or working with the retail sector for quite some time, and they know a lot about us, of course. And I will come back to that. In Kristianstad, I'm working, or I'm actually one of the founders of a Center for Food, Health and Retail, which combines or links research within the health and within marketing mainly, and within food innovation and food development. And we are 50 plus researchers doing research on that in Kristianstad. So it's an important area of an important profile for Kristianstad. So my take on this is, as Gabi presented this from a consumer point of view, and we of course spoke about this earlier. So I will address the problem of this collab from a retail perspective, and I'm doing that with. And I'm standing with this from a perspective where we've just finished a research project, a 2-year research project on the role of retail in the development of healthy and sustainable food habits. And I will come back to the main recommendations that we had for the sector from our project, and that is what I will finish with. But let me start just to say that retailers and the food retail has an absolutely unique role in the food system. So from farm to fork, the vast majority of what we put on our plates and what we eat actually comes through to us from the retail system. So we go to retail stores and buy. And in that way, it links the production side of the food system to the consumption side of the food system. So that they have a unique position. And just as in Sweden, Germany also has a fairly concentrated retail food system, and most countries have a fairly concentrated food system, which means that there are a few large actors with a lot of power, not only since they control the assortment, they are also controlling the purchase side. So they are gatekeepers to a lot of small producers. That is, of course, from a startup point of view, somewhat complicated, because you need to get over the threshold and get into the system if you want to sell through retail. We also know that the retailers, they are that's what they do, is that they influence what we buy. That's what they are good at. So they have an enormous influence on what is sold. So how they price products, where they place them in the store, how they communicate them in the store, that has an enormous impact on what is done in the food basket when we leave the store. One of the conclusions that we've seen in our project is that change towards healthy and sustainable food habits doesn't necessarily happen in the headquarters of the retailers, but it happens on the shop floor. People working and personnel working in the stores, and perhaps mainly the food store managers, have an enormously important role. Many food retailers, they have, to some extent, have autonomy over what they sell in the store, or how they place it in the store. So the store manager has an important role there. We also know, connecting to what Gabi just said, the store doesn't always help the consumer in guiding them towards healthy and sustainable food habits. I mean, the consumers, they are not abandoning their intentions intentionally, but they are influenced when they come into the store and then come out of the store with food or products that they didn't intend to buy. So in that sense, they are interfering in different ways with the realities of everyday grocery shopping. So a few empirical observations. So, I mean, even though the food retail sector is highly concentrated, I mean, they're big, but they're not necessarily evil. They have good intentions, and they're often clearly articulating their intentions of trying to influence consumers to consume more healthy and more sustainable. And they also do this through different types of industry commitments or different types of agreements. So collectively agreeing on certain things. They have an enormous influence to change our our different behaviors. So clearly, retailers, they have an important role to play if we're going to make a leap towards more healthy and sustainable food habits. As I said, through pricing, but also assortment decisions, they can facilitate or unintentionally or intentionally constrain this change. What we can see in our research is that it is difficult to be a consumer in the food context. It's difficult to maneuver in the food context, and often, as we saw in our project, is that the battle towards trying to intentionally change behavior is lost when you pass the threshold to the store, because you are influenced by different types of messages that come in the store context. So it is difficult for a consumer to navigate. And for example, trust in different types of labels, conflicting messages, different type of priorities, also within, or procrastination, as you mentioned, that I'm not healthy, I'm not living sustainable today, but I will in the future, and so on. So we try to rationalize these type of decisions when we try to rationalize the unhealthy or unsustainable behavior. So what we did in our project was that we interviewed. Well, first of all, we had one store leg where we talked to retailers, and one consumer leg where we talked to consumers. And then we talked to consumers before. We observed consumers in the store, and then we did post shopping interviews with consumers, and then we found these different types of rationalizations. Why did you buy this? Well, my children doesn't like that type of food, or my husband doesn't like it, or I can't afford it, of course. So price is an important factor here, of course. So the project that we had, the project was funded by an industry, by the retail and wholesale institute in Sweden, and they wanted us to come with a couple of practical recommendations to the sector, and this is what we ended up with. So the first one is that even though there are good intentions, retailers can do much more in trying to make the right choice, the easy choice for the consumer. So making it easier to do right for a consumer, but also in contrast to that, also making it more difficult to make the wrong decision. For example, by selecting out. Actually, this wouldn't be a problem from a retail point of view if retailers stopped selling unhealthy and unsustainable food choices, right? But they don't, for various reasons. So, but they have the power and the role to actually make it more difficult to make the wrong choices. The retail sector can, in many ways, develop their ways of working through collaboration and collective commitments. For example, we have this energy drinks that many kids start their morning with. I don't have to name drop any brands, but you can see, you can image it, all of you, I guess. The retail sector in Sweden decided for an age limit for that, which they have then implemented throughout the sector. That is one way of trying to make it difficult to make this wrong decision for young people, for example. But there are many other. Not having candy or sweets at the checkout in the store. That is another way of trying to make a collect. If all retailers made that decision together, then that would be an easy way we also saw that since the battle of choices is lost when you enter or when you cross the threshold of the store, it's important for retailers also to intervene across the customer journey. So through the customer journey, because a lot of the decisions on if we can make the decisions before we enter the store, then it's easier to hold on to those decisions when we are in the store. And then finally, retailers, since they are big and since it is a concentrated sector, they can leverage their position. For example, through private labels. We've seen that a lot of the really interesting initiatives when it comes to nudging consumers in Sweden are done through private labels. I will give you one example, and that is the Nordic countries have agreed on nutrition recommendations, and one of those is that we have to lower the consumption of red meat or of meat. And it's if you look at the market system, there are meat producers and meat suppliers, and they're not in. I mean, from their point of view, it would be really difficult to as the retailers have done, that they have combined, they have this 50-50 minced meat, for example. So it's 50% carrots, 50% meat. That would be very difficult for I guess more difficult for a meat producer to start with that type of product. But using and leverage on their position, retailers through their own private labels can develop these products and then make it won't make everyone vegans, but it will reduce the consumption of meat. So it's this, I guess it's this frugality to some extent that we can. What if we could reduce sugar levels in food or salt levels with 10, 15, 20%? As an industry agreement, that would also be a way of reducing those components and increasing healthy and sustainable food habits in different ways. All right, I will stop there, and I'm really looking forward to the panel. I hope I made it in time.
Thanks so much, Jens, for your presentation. You may have a brief pause, a brief break. I'm simply switching back to our presentation because we have a third panelist from Universität Paderborn. Just a second. And he actually, it's super interesting because he brings in a completely different perspective as well. It's a student initiative looking at sustainability from the student's perspective, and it's an international organization with 45 plus chapters in whole Europe, even international. And this is why I'm really happy to have you here now. Welcome, Maximilian Teubert.
Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe you can share a bit more about Oikos and about yourself. What motivates you as a student to be part of an initiative that's on sustainability?
All right, so
maybe you can hold it a bit
closer. Yeah, so for myself, I'm close to the end of my studies, and I wanted to get invested in something more practical, and that's why I joined Oikos in the first place, because they have really cool projects that I was already in contact with during all of the time of my studies. So I always knew that they existed, and then I also wanted to be involved and help continue all the cool projects that we do and all the things.
That's already great. We have some pictures you sent us. Your colleague, you're the chairwoman of the. Maybe you can just share a bit about the pictures we see to bring all of us on board of what you're doing and who you are.
So in these pictures, you see our group. And on the right side, it's one of the projects where we were just informing. It was like an information project where we tried to find new members or inform students about what we do. I don't know what other pictures we have. Oh yeah, we have the... on the right side, we have the project where we were just collecting trash in collaboration with the local recycling agency, ASP. On the left side, it's our fashion, I forgot the name, clothing swap. Yeah, the clothing swap party, where all the students and even non-students can bring clothes they don't need anymore and they don't wear, and then they can just take other clothes that they like. We do that every year, and it's really cool because everybody gets free clothes, and a lot of people have a lot of stuff they don't wear, and they think nobody wants it, but that's not true actually, because it's still good, and a lot of people will like it. Only if you don't like it doesn't mean somebody else doesn't like it. Yeah, I don't know if we have more pictures.
No, we don't.
But I can tell you about like 2 more projects that we do. One is for recycling paper, where we collect paper that in the university that is only printed from one side, and we make like college blocks out of it. So you can use the one side that's still good to write in the lectures and take notes. And another one is just in general, when we do like information projects, we provide snacks and food for people. And very often, or like always, that is vegan food. Like we often provide vegan pizza, and it's just so people don't think vegan pizza is as tasty as non-vegan pizza, but that's not actually the case. It's also very tasty, and we get a lot of positive feedback from people that are like, wow, I did not expect that is actually good. And then maybe they will choose the vegan option sometimes in the future. They don't have to become vegan, but maybe just sometimes choose the vegan option. It doesn't mean that it's bad or less good than the other options you have. It can also be good.
You are already building the bridge. Thanks so much. I would now welcome everybody on stage for the panel. Maximilian, you can sit there. We have the names, so everybody knows. Maybe on the last one. So, well, probably you won't swap the names anyways. So, I have a question directly to Jens, because you were talking about nudging. What Maximilian now already said, is it nudging? Can you say a bit more about this word that industry uses to actually make a change? Is offering vegan pizza nudging?
Nudging is a word that we use when we try to gently push or implicitly push rather than explicitly communicate something. Whether a clothing shop, I guess it can be nudging. I mean, it's what you're doing. If you're when you're swapping clothes, I guess you're planting an idea that you don't have to buy something new every time you want to change your wardrobe. So yeah, sure. I could include that into the word nudging.
That's great to hear, because it's already like a practice without even the research term. You're starting with it, you're actually doing it without a concept, a strategy before. It's rather like learning from action. So it's amazing to have a student perspective here on the stage. Maybe, Gabi, we have been talking about lots of different factors. We've been talking about lots of perspectives, but maybe you can take us to a situation, maybe on a Tuesday, a family in the evening. What are the unseen work, or what is the process of actually providing a healthy meal in the evening? Let's dive into that again, please.
Well, first of all, you have to have the ingredients for a meal in your home. And then, well, so this happened before, and you, of course, you shopped, and you have most of us have a budget that is limited, and you do it. And then, of course, you have a family, and you have the family members, and what they consider a nice and healthy and good meal might differ between them. And of course, you have many emotions in a family going on. And maybe for the mother or the father, it's very important to spend the meal together, which is nice to have, but our studies show that less and less families have this time of eating together and being together and feeling as a family, which is a shame, actually. But so what intervenes, of course, is time. People, the family members have to have time to be together. And but in the end, this is a kind of quality of life you're producing by a joint meal. And so there are many factors coming in here, and many expectancies as well. But in the end, it's if the family enjoys the meal or not is depending on many factors.
So you are diving into this topic of households for a long time. What actually initially motivated you to dive into this exact topic?
Well, the household is crucial for all of us. We grow up in a household, and it shows all aspects of life in there. It's like a mirror of society you have in a household, and there's so many surrounding factors that influence it, and to do research on that is like doing research on quality of life. It's kind of philosophy as well. You know, how a good life, how can we manage to our everyday life to have a good life, and what is a good life about?
A good life directly links to student life, especially from my perspective. But maybe Maximilian, you can share a bit about the students' way of living right now, and also about the food habits. Like, is the Mensa still such a big deal? Has it such a big impact on the everyday lives of students?
I think so, yes. That's because as a student, you usually live alone, and cooking for one person is the same, like close to the same work as cooking for 4 people. So it's like more work per meal, and that's why we go to the Mensa to save time, because we don't have a lot of time. Also, we need to study, and so I personally go to the Mensa nearly every day. So yeah, I think it's very important.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, how much is right now like a normal meal at the canteen, at the Mensa?
So it's like between 3 and 4 euros, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. But our Mensa has a really nice trick for students. If you go after 2 p.m., it's all half price, because they want to get rid of what's left. It's less choices. A lot of things are sold out. Sadly, often the vegan option is sold out. But if you want to save money, it's a good thing to go at 2 p.m.
Do you know if it is a strategy that was developed by the Mensa itself, by the Studierendenwerk, or was it like some pressure on it to reduce the food waste?
I do not know who initiated it.
But it's such a great idea, I would say. Maybe we can add on that, Jens. You are looking at the retail perspective. It's different than canteens, right? Like the food waste that's happening, I think it's 1/3 of all the food that's produced internationally is in the end not eaten, for example. If we're looking at the canteens, it is probably like even less, if they even have like these kind of strategies in reducing it. How is like the retail focusing on this surplus waste, for it, like surplus? How was it? Side streams we looked at.
Well, first, let me say that I think what combines what combines the Mensa with the retail sector is that they are both trying to answer for a need of convenience. So the retails or food retail, they are very interested in trying to make everyday life easier, and we can see that in food stores today there are much more food solutions rather than raw material for a chef. So it's much more food solutions. So in that sense, there is a common denominator that they're both working towards making life easier.
You were already mentioning convenience. Can you share a bit more about how that developed in the past, maybe 20 years? You've been in that field for a long time already.
Well, I mean, during the last 10 years, we see much more of food solutions in the retail stage, and that is of course a response to lack of time in the household. two adults working full time. You don't have as much time spending time shopping, for example. So in that sense, I think that the landscape of food solutions has developed a lot in the last 10 years. And there is also a big difference between countries in Europe. You can see, for example, in the UK, there is much more food solutions. For example, in Sweden, we still buy potatoes that are raw and dusty, and you have to wash them and cook them. But if you look in the UK, for example, you buy potatoes that are already seasoned, put in a plastic bag, and then you just shove them in the oven, and they're ready. So in that sense, they've come a bit further than us.
Why would you say is that so? Why is it in the UK and not in Sweden? What is like the behavior, the attitude of the people? Is it the people, or is it even the industry that's not?
I think in general we can see that in the US and the UK the retail scene are a few years ahead of us. So if we're interested in seeing what the future of food stores will look like, at least I go to the UK to see what is happening there. So they're a bit ahead of us.
Okay, Gabi, maybe you want to add on that. I already see it.
I want to add something about highly processed food. So on health, the aspect of health, highly processed food is not a good choice. I mean, it's not black and white, and some processed food is okay, but many times, for example, you mentioned the potatoes, and you prepare them, and then you have to add additives because they need the shelf to prolong the shelf life, and some things that you don't have to add when you cook the potatoes yourself. And also another aspect is people often buy convenience food not knowing that doing it themselves would be a lot cheaper. But then comes in the resource of time again. But here is a huge field for education. Yeah, so people shouldn't lose the culinary arts of boiling a potato and seasoning it. Yeah, you see in German shops more and more. I see those the herbs, and it's like you already have a collection. So you know, for your French fries you need this, for your goulash you need that. And people don't know how to mix it themselves anymore.
I'm not saying that food, that processed food is a good idea, or that the development that we see with food solutions is a good way forward. I'm just observing the reality and saying that this is what we'll probably see in Central Europe and in Sweden in the coming years. The advantage that we have is that, I mean, and I guess the problem here is food literacy, or I mean, people don't know how to cook potatoes. That is a big problem, and the retail sector then sees this and capitalize on the fact that there is lack of food literacy, and then they produce convenient solutions. So I'm not saying that it's a good idea. I'm saying that is what is happening. Yeah. We have an opportunity to change that, I guess, because we are not there yet. But that is the harsh reality. We are moving towards much more food solutions, which means, as Gabi says, food that is much more processed, and that is not moving in the right direction. And I don't think that anyone here would say that we're moving in the right direction, but we are in a position where we actually can alter that.
I think that's an interesting point, because we have to see like the whole system, right? We have to see where it comes from and where we are going from there. Maybe Maximilian, from your perspective as like with a good view into the student body, how is it about cooking? How is it about, let's say, you know, you have an evening with friends, for example. Do you bring everything together, or is it more like hey, let's just order a pizza?
I think that depends very much on the specific person. Like, I have a friend who also buys pre-cut and pre-boiled potatoes in the glass instead of buying the whole bag. But the issue there is mostly because you can only buy them in like 2 kilogram bags, and then it's hard as one person, especially as a student, to use it. Like 2 kilograms of potatoes will last like a year, and then they go bad after half the time. So I have friends who, when we meet up and play board games, they always cook fresh, and because it's very important to them. But I also have friends who would just say, let's order something. So it depends very much on the person. Personally, I always like to cook the stuff myself. I think I never ordered something to my home here in Paderborn ever, like, because I just don't like the food that you can order. It's not good, in my opinion, in comparison to what I can cook myself. But I admit it always also takes a lot of time to cook, and sometimes you don't have that time.
You're saying that it's especially like in social gatherings, right? It is like something when you're coming together that it's probably something special people want to cook, sometimes ordering, but it's an occasion because you can share the resources, probably you have the time together. That's probably also a perspective on households. We're always talking about families as a household. How would you, from your research perspective, look at student homes or like single persons households?
Well, they have special challenges, so the situation is different. But we in our studies we look, for example, in single parent households and the challenges they face, and of course some of the resources are scarce in those households. And with students, I think it's something very funny about this resource time. And I mean, it's a topic in philosophy as well, because it's a lot about priorities as well. So if you meet with your friends and students meet, they can spend time together cooking. Yeah, so this is like part of it, and that it's fun. Yeah, and it makes up a group, and to cook and eat together is something very social and very of a high quality, and people forget about that. Yeah, and this is one thing I would like. Yeah, we have community kitchens in the big cities all over the world. They are establishing community kitchens where people come together, living alone in a one-person household, come together, cook together, eat together, and enjoy it. Yeah.
So if you could sum it up like briefly, what are the critical resources keeping people from eating healthy?
Well, it's not only the resources, it's also the values and attitudes and the habits and everything we mentioned before that makes up the whole package. So I think it's not one thing you can mention. It's the whole scenery, and but it is possible to change. But and I think what we really need is a sustainable environment, so that the healthy and the sustainable choice is the easy choice. So this is nudging again. So like in the Mensa, that when you enter the Mensa, the first menu you see is vegetarian or vegan, and not the meat option.
So we heard about the time and the money and all the different factors and what you were saying right now. I have the feeling the retail always finds a solution. I mean, it's like the target group of people with less money, of little time. It's the convenience food. It's the cheaper products. Like, where is actually then the responsibility in changing the habits or in changing actually the whole nutrition towards a more sustainable and more healthy for people?
It's actually a fairly philosophical question, and it could. I don't like playing blame games, so and I think it's very. It's not a constructive way forward to say that it's their fault or their fault. I think it's a it's a collective problem. It's a collective societal challenge that we all have to address from our different points of view. If you look at retailers, I mean, as I said in my short address, that they are not they are clever, but they're not evil. I mean, let me give you a short example of in some student cities in Sweden, we have one of our major retailers have in a way to handle food waste. So food that is about to expire. They have created kitchens in the food store, so they produce food solutions, but they're homemade with food that is short in date, and then they often sell to students that would like to buy portions of food in the food stores. So I think that is a pretty cool way of trying to close the loop of addressing the problem of food waste, and at the same time creating a convenient solution. And it's a way where the market here solves the problem, solves a societal problem, which I think is pretty cool. And I think that is something that we could see more of.
Yeah.
If I should say one thing that I think involvement is important. That we create involvement. That people see that this is that consumers see that this is their problem and not someone else's problem. That the retailer sees that they play a very important part in it, and that it's not someone else's choice, and so on. So I think and coming back to families, involving young people at an early stage, or young children at an early stage, explaining what nutritious food is, and what cost and the cost of waste. For example, in a household, do we speak to our children about the fact that we throw away part of our food basket every week? Do we communicate that with our children, and so on? I think that involvement, because then you can create a sense of urgency in a broader scope.
That sounds like the consequences and the consciousness about the consequences that have to be discussed and be part of the conversations. Maybe Maximilian, you're looking with Oikos at the students' activities and also how to change their habits. You were sharing the project on vegan pizza and how you actually bring this new taste to the people. Do you have more perspectives on how it is to change a habit of students who do not really have the sustainable attitude?
Yeah, it is really hard to change the habits of students if they don't want to do it, but we try to do like the first step and make them aware that there even is something they can change. That's why we let them try to taste the vegan food, so they know that it's an option, and then they can make the choice themselves. Because if they don't know that there is any options, then they cannot make the choice. So we only start like at the very beginning, and we can't, or like not yet really go further, but maybe we should do some like cooking class or something. Like maybe that's a project for the future.
Sounds good. It's already an ideation right now here on the panel. That's great. But it's already a thing we are doing in the upcoming days with a hackathon, like diving into ideas, what we could actually do to make a change in this. So I would like to understand a bit better, like the fundament. What do we have to know for the upcoming days from this attitude behavior gap, and also like looking at sustainability and health to develop solutions?
Well, I would like to say that communication is pivotal. So you need a good communication, you need information, and you have to think about how to reach people and how to speak to them, and how your topics and your messages get through to them. And this is really important.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you have an idea on that as well from the retail and research perspective.
That was a really good question. I'm thinking for the hackathon, I think that we should not forget the fundamental human drivers: pride, guilt. I don't know what else, but those
emotions,
those fundamental emotions because they are extremely powerful in changing behavior. Because this, as you said, changing behaviors of anyone, you said students, changing behavior of anyone is extremely difficult. So I think one way of doing that is docking on to some of the fundamental human drivers. Look at the pandemic. I mean, we made changes overnight in our behavior because we were scared or concerned and so on. So I mean, it's possible to change. But we have to, I mean, tap into those basic fundamental drives, and marketers do that all the time. I mean, guilt, pride, shame. Those are that's the basic toolbox of a marketer.
Maybe you have an idea as well, or like to see what do we actually need to know, for example, about students and student behavior that you can share from your Oikos perspective. Where is it a good idea to talk to people? What is the baseline?
Yeah, I don't really know how to frame that in words. So yeah, I mean, a lot of from personal experience, I think cooking healthy food at home is already cheaper especially than ordering, and I think even than eating in the Mensa. But a lot of people are not aware, or they don't know how to do it. So it's really like the knowledge base that needs to be addressed, because a lot of students never learned how to cook at their home, because like, especially if they had like a stay-at-home mom, then the mom cooked. That I think that's still relatively common, even if it was not the case for myself. So but if that was the case, they never learned how to cook themselves, and then they are now here, students, first time they live alone, and they are completely lost and don't know how to survive, basically.
I also think that we need to overcome this contradiction, where we contradict, or where we say that healthy and sustainable food is also more expensive. I think if we can overcome that hurdle and make people realize that that is not always or even ever true.
Is that not? I would like to know, like, if I go shopping on the market, for example, in the market here in the middle of Paderborn, it's on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I do know it's more expensive than buying the vegetables at the discounter.
I would disagree. If you take protein, for example, and skip the meat and instead eat other alternative proteins, you have a lot left in your wallet for other things. And if you buy, I mean, fresh food, and alter that and buy less protein, for example, then I would say that you can get away with. You can speak to the wallet, as I said to here. Yeah. Mm.
Great. So I guess we already have talked, like we heard your presentations, we have such a great base already for the upcoming 2 days, and I would just love to have one last sentence from you. What would you like to share for the upcoming 2 days that we should have in mind developing solutions from the retail perspective, the household perspective, and maybe also from the student perspective?
All right, so maybe it does not always need to be a completely new solution. A lot of solutions are already there. Like you can go to the supermarket and buy lentils or chickpeas, and they are, if you prepare them, it's not hard to prepare them, and they are really tasty and they are very healthy. But a lot of people don't know how. And so the solution is there. You don't need to develop a new superfood. It's there, but you need to know how to do it or how to eat it. Stuff like that. So
it's the know-how you're highlighting now at the last round. Please, Jens.
Yeah, I would like to refer back to a book that I read when I was a student. It's a book by Howard Ulrich called Organizations Evolving. And in the early paragraphs of that book, Howard Ulrich writes that keep in mind that all these big billion corporations that we see and that we often talk about, they all started off as an idea, as one person. That is a nice carrot for a workshop, isn't it?
Talking about carrots, Gabi.
Yeah, I would like to add that every one of us has an impact. And that sometimes students tell me, what can I do? I can't save the world. I can't change it. We need the institutions. We need others to change the framework. But I think it's up to all of us, and we all have an impact. And if we all do a little bit, it's a big thing in the end.
It starts with you.
What a nice sentence to finish.
Did
up
I say
the
that I was
panel.
in marketing?
Thanks so much, Maximilian, Jens, and Gabi, for the panel. We also have some little presents for you, and for all of you, you're invited to have a 10 minutes break now, have a little coffee, you already know where it is, have a little muffin or what else we have, but keep some space in your bellies because we will have a lunch at 1. See you soon. because we are back for the second panel. How are you guys doing? Just give me a little, how's the energy right now? Is it back a bit? Yes, all right. Some yes and no. Okay, we'll try to get there again. You had some long travels here, so I'm pleased you are here at least, not sleeping. All good. We are coming back into our topic on the CoLab, on frugal innovation in food production and green transition. And the first panel, we asked, why don't people just choose better? And the answer we heard that choice is rarely free and that there is a lot about the system as well, but we want to shift this perspective now and have a look at systems being built. So there are three people who are not studying the food system itself, they're inside it, they're building it. It's on the one hand a farm you don't buy from, you belong to. We already heard about it in the first few moments here. It's a platform that rescues food before the bin. And also it's the politics of the land. So how we heard about economy, about retailers, we heard about university, we heard about the perspective of startups. And now we are also looking at the politics about regulations, because there is a dynamic in it and there is a responsibility of politics as well. So I'm excited to see all the different perspectives again. The first person I want to have here on stage, his professional background is computer science. He's a board member of Food Sharing Eingetragener Verein e.V., which is like a certain kind of club that is already, it's communal and it's, can you explain Verein? Association, probably, yes. And he is keeping the platform running that connects food savers across Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. He started as a local food saver in 2021 and is by now an ambassador. He came here today from Münster, which is a city nearby, but still quite a way to come to Paderborn. So welcome here, Anton Ballmeier. This microphone for you. Oh, we can stand here for a bit because we brought some pictures. This is the logo, the food sharing, and maybe you can share a bit more about food sharing. Let's start with that.
Hello? Okay.
Yes.
So basically, food sharing is an international organization centered around reducing food waste, whatever we can do to do that. So what people most of the time think of when they hear of food sharing is that we pick up surplus food at retailers. So that's one thing we do, and what most people who work, you could say, or who are part of food sharing, what most people do. You can see that in the left, where, for example, we sort through the surplus at a weekly market and just take everything with us which is still edible, and whatever is like moldy, for example, will get thrown away. So, and then like the next step would be what do you even do with all this surplus food? Because in like almost all scenarios, it's a lot more than whoever picks it up would eat themselves. So we also build infrastructure to redistribute this surplus amongst like people who can actually use it up. So for that, we establish so-called Verteilers, like fair with like the English word, and also it's like a German wordplay. In English, you would say food share points, basically, which is missing the wordplay. But anyway, so that's like public places where people can put either the surplus that they picked up at stores, but also whatever they have left over in their local fridges, like at home. Whenever they notice that in 2 days they might be going on vacation and their fridge is still full, so they can just take all the leftover vegetables or packages, whatever, and put them in those fridges or shelves for others to pick them up. It's all for free. Like, food sharing itself doesn't use a lot of money at all. Whenever there's the opportunity to do something without money, then we will take it. So that's really close to this idea of frugal, like working with what's already there instead of trying to invest in like a lot of new infrastructure. So yeah, maybe that's one thing, but also, as we've heard before, it's not just about what we do with the resources, but it's also like, how do we get people to make more sustainable choices? So there's obviously a link to educational work, right? In this picture, for example, there's like just going out in the city, talking to people, and we do have the advantage over other associations, I think, that giving out free food always is like a great hook for people. It's really easy to get in touch with people. If you can, for example, kind of shock them with displaying loads of still great food and telling them that everything of that would have been thrown in the bin the day before. So yeah, that's one thing we do, but also we think about, continue with the images. Okay, so that's, maybe you can skip one past. Is there another one after that?
No.
Oh, no, there isn't. Okay, anyways, then I'll just tell you without without another image. So we also like try to close the loop of actually using those surplus foods by hosting cooking events. For example, we initiated a so-called food sharing cafe almost like 1.5 years ago now in Münster, where once a week we collect about maybe 100 to 150 kilograms of like surplus food, and then with a group of around about 10 volunteers, we cook all that food to then be able to give out around 200 to 300 free meals to whoever's willing to come. And so also, like, this free food thereby presents an opportunity to bring together really different groups of people, because we all have to eat. That's like one really uniting feature about all humans. So that's really a nice thing, to have something to like use as a fuel for different people meeting. So, and all this is organized on an online platform, foodsharing.de or .at or .ch, depending on the country you're in. And so this platform is also, like everything else in food sharing, volunteer driven. We don't have like paid personnel. It's all voluntary work. And so yeah, it's also an example for community supported software, actually, where we try to take the same principles from community supported agriculture and transfer them to how like software is built not for a community but with the community.
So community is kind of in the heart of your whole project.
Definitely.
I would love to know more, or I will ask you more questions. Maybe you already take a seat. Thanks so much for being here. And we will have the next panelist here. She works in international relations here at Paderborn University and is the personal assistant to the vice president of international relations. Today, she is here as the member of the SOLAVI, Solidarische Landwirtschaft Faushof in Salzkorten-Scharmende, around the corner, which is a solidarity-based cooperative farm growing organic regional vegetables since 2015. So already your 10th anniversary behind you. On this panel, she's sharing what actually it takes to grow and share food locally together. Welcome, Davina Stiller. So, I will hand over to you another microphone. Here you go. Maybe you can also share a bit Solavi Fausov. There is a heart in the reddish. I really love the logo. And we have some pictures as well.
Yeah, so this is where you can see where some vegetables are growing. I have no idea what that is actually, because I'm not very familiar with the vegetables themselves and how to grow them, because we don't do it ourselves. We have 2 full-time gardeners at our Solavi, but of course we decide together what we do want to grow or what we want our gardeners to grow. Yeah. And we share the responsibility for everything, like the cost, the harvest, and any risks like weather conditions. But yeah, we do have well, a roof, so above some of our vegetables, so some of our harvest is more stable.
How many people are you right now? How did it start? Can you share a bit about that?
About 120 harvest shares at the moment.
What does that mean, harvest shares?
So we have a bidding round once a year, and members of the cooperative can bid for a harvest share. So as I said, we share the risk, but also the harvest. So whatever is grown within a week or what can be harvested within a week is then shared between the members. And once a year we meet and say, well, I will pay whatever amount for the harvest share. So during this bidding round, the cost of the cooperative for the gardeners, for the infrastructure, things like that is presented transparently to all the members. And I can then say, well, I will pay about 100 euros per month for a whole year. And then this is the bids are anonymous. So the bidding round goes on until the full amount that we need for about a year is reached.
So what you're saying is that there are 100 people around, or 100 families, households, that kind of come together, join this cooperative, and then they see the costs of what it takes to actually build or produce the food, and then you're sharing it, the cost, right? Is it then different to buying at the market, because you could also have organic food at the market?
Yeah, it's of course very different, but we have more members. Actually, it's about 400 members, I would say, but only 120 harvest shares. And you can also have a harvest share not every week, but every second week. What I have, but yeah, of course, it's different because I get the food that is grown and not what I want to eat or my kids want to eat this week. I get things I've never known before. Yeah, this is how it looks like when we go there. We have to go and pick up the vegetables in Schamede, which is a town nearby. But we have to go there, drive there, and then we see, now we have 2 kilograms of potatoes for this week. So every week we have like these 2 kilograms of potatoes. And I get what is grown and not what I choose to have this week. Yeah.
Does it make you creative?
Oh yeah, you have to be.
You have to be? Because there is something you wouldn't actually plan for, right?
No, of course. Now I know so many vegetables I really haven't known before. But yeah, I have to be creative. But of course, I can also choose only to take the vegetables that I know that I will eat. So sometimes, I don't know, we have 5 kilos of potatoes, and I said, no, I don't have time this week to prepare them. I will just take 1 kilo or something like that.
Great. Thanks for the first introduction to the topic. Maybe you also just take a seat and we will introduce the third panelist here on stage. He has 2 perspectives. He's a professor of technical management at the Hochschule Osnabrück. He is an industrial engineer by training, studied here at the University of Paderborn. with a career bridging industry, academia, and also local initiatives. And he is still active at the Green Party in Paderborn until last year in the council, right now as a citizen expert for the local decision makers. On this panel, he has the view where sustainable food visions meet municipal reality. So welcome on stage, Rainer Pusch. We have a microphone for you as well.
Thank you.
So maybe you can also share a bit about what you are doing, what you were doing probably as a city council member and what it looks like. We also have some pictures here. How it looks in Germany, in Paderborn.
Okay, this is a picture of the.
Should be turned on.
This is a picture of the whole. Does it work?
Yeah.
Okay, now the picture of the whole council, but the council itself also has a lot of different committees, and I'm still a member of the committee for urban planning. So which is taking care of all the different areas that we have and what we do with them. There are advisory boards for different companies that the city has, like for housing and all this kind of stuff. And it's voluntary work. So we sit together every Monday 4 hours to discuss all the different topics. If you're in the council, I would say it's like a 15 to 16 hours job a week. And if you're just like me now, a committee member, it's still like 4 to 8 hours per week work. But deciding about a lot of stuff. Where does the money of the city go to? How do we use our land? This is probably what we talk about today. And a lot of decisions need to be made and to have a vision of the city. Where do you want to develop the city? What do you want to achieve? Working together also with the city's administration is very important. Politicians just have a variety of options that they can choose, but of course the work is done by the city's administration, by the different departments, which is also very important to keep in touch with them, work with them, and leverage their ideas.
So I guess we're all here in a volunteer panel, actually. So politics here on a municipal level is also volunteer. I guess the development takes a bit longer, and probably also the feeling of I've done something that can be seen and can be experienced is a different one. We have another one here you brought us. Maybe you want to share briefly what this is about, because it's quite a big plan and lots of words.
Yeah, it looks not so big, but if you know that we are, maybe can you
sure.
to me? We are in this building, and this is the plan for the whole area. So maybe some of you have seen that. This is an old military barracks, the biggest development project in Paderborn's history. It's the overall area has the same size as the inner city of Paderborn, and this is a thing which we cannot just switch on and in 5 years that everything is done. So there's a master plan to develop all this area. Which you see here is the green infrastructure, there's blue infrastructure, water and all this kind of stuff. And there is basically, if you see here, there's something like called cultural landscape with fruits and urban agriculture, which is in the overall plan. But it's a long way to go, and maybe we can discuss about the obstacles we have and so on the panel.
Maybe for all of you who haven't been here yet, this is the place we're talking about. This very building isn't there yet. It's about here, I guess, right? We're here in the middle. And it's a huge project also from the university. There is a lot of ambition in the project and also from the side of politicians. So welcome here also on the panel, Rainer. So maybe we can have a little more view on your systems. Probably we're starting with the Solavi as well, because you are changing the risk, right? You are bringing the risk not to the consumer, but to the not to the farmer, right? Can you share a bit about that decision?
Yes, we're sharing the risks, and this can be good, but of course bad when we have bad weather conditions, when there is a pest, we don't have any harvest. But as I said, we have this bidding round, and we have to decide upfront for about a year that we want to have the harvest for a year. So it's for us, it's quite expensive to invest every month. So I decide 1 year in advance that I will invest this €100, like around 100, a little bit below €100 actually, to invest that for the harvest. But I have no idea what will be grown throughout the year or how much I will get.
Does it also mean that at some stage we heard about the 20 kilograms of potatoes? What is like the craziest amount you've already experienced in your Solavi experience or in your journey?
I think my kids had a red beet fatigue because we had a lot of red beet, and I have 2 small children, like 2 and 4 years old, and red beet is not a vegetable you want your children to eat because there are stains that will never be able to wash out of the clothes. So this is something where we have to adjust. I've only been a member for about a year, so this has been like the first year where I've been a member, so now I know roughly the harvest that we have. But yeah, sometimes we have a lot. We talked a lot about time and just talked about retail, making things easier. The Solavi has not made my life easier in that sense, I would say.
Share a bit more about that, because I think that's again like the attitude behavior gap we were talking about, and about the work that's actually needed to have a certain amount of sustainability and health in your nutrition. What does it take for you to be at the Solavi?
Well, first of all, there's a logistics. There's a pickup station in Paderborn, but we decided to go to the Solavi, to the land where it's grown, and the barn where the food is displayed, and to go there and pick it up. But of course, we have to go there like once a week to pick up the harvest, and it's only Friday afternoons and Saturday mornings. So when you have a family, it's not always very easy to schedule or put this into your work and family schedule. So this is one big factor for us going there, and we have to use a car to go there and also to put the large harvest with us. And of course, then we have to prepare. I mean, we talked about a lot, or you talked a lot about preparation time, about all the time that is used to wash the vegetables. Somebody, like you said, that the potatoes are cut. Well, we get the potatoes and they're very dirty, so we have to wash them. We have to cut them. We have to cook them. We talked about the beans. We have to peel them. So it's a lot of time that goes into just preparing the food.
You were talking now about the moment of getting the food to eating. What is before? So are you also involved in the agriculture there?
Yeah, you mentioned community, I think, when you were talking. And I think this is why we also decided to be part of the Solavi, of the CSA, because it's not about the food itself, because as somebody said before, I can go to the supermarket and just buy even my organic local food there. But it's more about the community. For me, it's also about showing my kids where the food is grown, how food looks like, so that carrots look a bit ugly and weird. We do have like WhatsApp groups where we share recipes. We meet once a month for a working meeting where we, as I said, we do have 2 gardeners, but we support them with some potato harvesting, for instance. So it's not about this just buying food, having food, eating food, but it's about the community for me. And I think for most of the others as well, because it's just not convenient. You have to have other reasons why you're becoming a member of the Solavi.
Okay, so what I hear now, it's about 100 euros per month plus the work, the time you invest as well. I would like to ask you now, Anton, how is it about food sharing? Because you were saying that you have a similar approach to Solavi, but from a different perspective. How much does it cost for you? What are the investments you as a volunteer bring to the table to actually make the system work?
Okay, so first of all, I think I want to make clear that even though we apply the principles of CSA to how we create the software for the platform, we don't do the same for how food sharing for most of the volunteers does function. So to be honest, you don't have to bring a lot to the table to get food from food sharing. So what you have to do is first of all like run through basically a process of learning how all that works, because it's not only that you have to get to know the structures of food sharing itself, but also you have to learn quite a bit of like the legal framework of how are you even allowed to work with food, how can you do that safely, and so on. So first of all, you probably have to like spend about maybe a month from start to finish, from like applying on this platform until you are even like a verified food saver, as which you can then quite flexibly be part of food pickups. And if you do that, then you just go to, for example, a retailer or a bakery or whatever, and you look through all the surplus food, whatever's left over, and you take with you everything that's still edible. And that might be quite a bit. That might be 20 kilograms of potatoes. That might, in some cases, be half a ton of bananas. So you take that with you, and from that point onward, you're kind of responsible for that food getting eaten. You can do that yourself, but usually you can't because it's too much.
Half a ton of banana?
Probably not. And so what you do instead is build your local network and get in touch with the people around you. That can be friends and family, but that can also be neighborhoods or many people also use messaging groups. In most cities, there's large messaging groups. In Münster, for example, with over 2,000 members, where you can just send a message of, okay, I have like these 3 baskets of surplus food, just stop by and take whatever you'd like. And so all of this food is given out for free. That's even like one of the most important rules that food sharing has, that you are not allowed to resell that food. Reasons for that are multiple. First of all, I'm convinced that selling the food would always give a reason to waste some of it, but also the retailers probably wouldn't give it to us if we weren't giving it away for free then.
I still remember, because I was also doing some food saving once, about 10 years ago here in Paderborn, and I still remember walking through the market and talking to different stands, and not everybody was really happy about it. So what are the reasons for not supporting food saving processes?
They're different, obviously, but I feel like the most prominent one is legal uncertainty. It's not even that it's forbidden, but retailers are really risk aware, like trying to avoid risks with food poisonings, for example. If you don't know how to work with food that's like at the end of its shelf life, then risks emerge. And if like food sharing, for example, works quite professionally, even though people all do it voluntarily, but there are some cases of food poisonings related to dumpster diving, and obviously retailers are really aware of that. So that's one thing that they try to avoid at all cost. In many cases, mostly with smaller stores, it's also that they might want to, like, they have this image of surplus food needs to go to poor people. And there's a lot of problems with that narrative. And one of them would be that it's really hard to find enough poor people to be able to then, for example, cook the bag of potatoes. Because if, for example, you live on the street, you can't use raw potatoes. You just can't use them. So I have been quite some times in a situation where I've been discussing with smaller retailers that we could pick up their surplus food and redistribute it, but they wouldn't want us to do that because we don't have a restriction on just giving that food out to poor people. So they wanted to the food bank to pick it up instead, but the food bank wouldn't. So in the end, they just throw it away.
So that is then the decision.
Yeah,
they rather throw it out than...
It happens, yeah.
Wow. I would love to hear the retailer's perspective on that now, but it is like seeing the food sharing, like being such a big network of people. How many people are there actually in total? Do you know, like in if it's just for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, because it's such an important institution by now?
Well, I mean, obviously we do have statistics because we're an online platform and it's really easy to have statistics. But like as a precursor to just throwing around numbers, I want to say there's, depending on how you count, it's really different how many people regularly pick up food, how many people like picked up food with food sharing at least once. Do you ask for how many people are actually driving like political change in reducing food waste at its root? Those are three differently sized groups, obviously. Regular food savers currently are about 65,000 in those three countries. People who picked up food with food sharing at least once, I think by now are just below 500,000 people. But the group of people who like actively participate in like everything beyond picking up food, which like provides a benefit for yourself in the form of free food as well. Going beyond that, it's probably more like 5,000 people.
But that's still a lot.
It is, yes.
So how you were talking about the Verteiler, so the touch points, the points where you could actually distribute the safe food. Are they also in municipal buildings, or how can we? Is it private households? I still remember it was like a backyard of somebody who would allow people in, because it's, you know, you can't actually guarantee that there is somebody who's not really nice to enter your backyard.
Sure. And that's one thing where it gets complicated, because cities are different and there's not a solid legal framework for how to do these things. It's not like someone has made a law on how you're allowed to do food share points, but rather you just do it and then you look what roadblocks you hit. And that's really different from city to city. In some cities, yeah, it's in municipal buildings, and that works great, because then you have like the people who decide on how, like what regulatory means you need in order to, like, for them to be happy about it. They can just fulfill them themselves if it's in their own building. In many cases, it's a lot harder than that, because you need to find places where people can, like, on the one hand, enter freely, but also if it's like on public ground, then the restrictions are a lot harder. So people like try to find these gray areas where you can somehow make it work. But obviously it's a lot easier when when the city council is on board, then things go far easier than honestly in most cities.
City council being on board. Rainer Pusch, how is it about sustainability initiatives in Paderborn? Is there support?
Okay, maybe just the first thing is in Paderborn, the Verteiler is in the city's library. And in the city where I work, in Osnabrück, one of the Verteilers was on the area of the University of Applied Sciences. So there is support. It could always be better, of course. But I think the city, we have to still distinguish between cities administration and cities council. In general, the administration, they have different positions of people working on sustainable issues. We have a sustainability manager, we have like the Fair Trade Town administration, we have, of course, there's the environmental office that is dealing with a lot of different stuff, and they're trying their best. But there's always a question of limited resources again, personnel and financially. If you want to spend money on that as a city, you need to have it in the city yearly budget. This is currently, let's say, under pressure. And so sometimes you have to stick to what is your mandatory work. And supporting this kind of initiatives very often is not mandatory, but optional for the cities. So the first thing they cut are the optional things. We are currently fighting against that, of course, in environmental things and climate things and social things. But currently it's hard work to keep that support up.
It's interesting to see where the decision making is done for the whole system of the city. So if you were, if you sit in the chair of the fiercest opponent in the city council, what's their best argument against spending money on local food or like sustainability infrastructure? Because it is such a big thing right now, like seeing the heat waves rolling over the place.
Yeah, maybe you can make up some examples. I don't want to name these opponents. I think you all know where they sit. But if you talk about like just like a well for fresh water to have it in the city somehow, hey, anyone can carry their own water with them. Why do we need them? We talked about menstrual products in city libraries. So what's so difficult to take 1 or 2 tampons with you? Yeah, as I would not take my toilet paper with me, right? So, but this is the kind of arguments you get. It's like the free will, the free choice, whatever of the people, and totally lacking the social aspect of our society, right? To support people that are poorer, support people that don't have the financial background, and this is the main argument, which most of the people don't take, and so there is still some support, but currently we have a big backlash in politics, as you see on federal level. We have it on city level, and on every aspect around environmental, climate things, social things, where we're fighting it.
So we were talking about the place here. We can maybe have a look again, this one. But that's a big topic, right? This is like such a, it's even called the Zukunftsquartier, so the future place, the part of the city. In how far does sustainability play a role here? You said like there is like food agriculture, whatever happening there, but is there any more, infrastructure being developed towards sustainable and green transition? What's also the topic of the collab?
Yeah, definitely. You see, there is different levels of how these things are steered, and one thing where it is steered is money, and who is giving the money. Yeah, so the budget of the city council is limited, so we are depending on funding, and a lot of funding, of course, from state level and federal level and European level is going into this green transition. So, of course, the city of Paderborn, if they want to develop this kind of area, they take that money, and then, of course, they have to do what the money wants them to do. For example, putting that up as a swamp city for the water retention, having the green infrastructure in, and there is, and of course, in addition, there is things where the city council, the committees, the different parties brought in good ideas in terms of sustainable development. In this area, there's also a plan on what kind of buildings. Is it just housing? Is it industry? Whatever you want to get there. There is some areas where they want to build up cooperative building projects, for example. And this is mainly buildings for rent. So there's a lot of people that don't have their own house with their own garden, so they need food. And why not add then, of course, food production in that area to that area, which is my vision of this stuff, to let the people grow their food there on that area or next to that area. As you see on the bottom right corner, there's an agricultural area there which is still occupied. But I hope that the city will sooner or later get that and make that the garden for the future quarter.
So you were saying that, like, your vision, I hear it, for this place, and you were also saying that the money actually sets the tone and sets the direction. So what is one policy instrument, like local or maybe even up to the EU, that would do more for local food system than everything combined?
Okay, I think the main leverage would be a total different story. This is the purchasing power of the city, right? So if the city would decide to buy every food they buy for the school canteens and everything, but from local producers, that would be the biggest leverage that maybe would give a critical mass for the local producers, and then have the production running to also support other things, right? This is, I think, is the biggest lever.
All right. So we are looking at the conditions. So if the conditions were right, maybe also about the Solavi, it is probably, let's take a perspective on 2035, and half of Paderborn's vegetables come from Solavis. Let's try it. And regional farms also provide, so Solavis and regional farms. Look back, what was kind of the breakthrough? What must have happened in these 10 years ahead that actually the local food production would be here?
Well, of course, politics has to support that and really has to put the focus on that. And politics have to say this is important for our city. And well, despite the problems right now with finances in our city, but I think we are also talking about why do people decide to be part of a Solavi or to be part of more sustainable solutions? And this would provide a solution because it's more convenient when the food is closer, it's faster, and it's already about community building. So people then realize that they have more advantages and disadvantages, that I mentioned a lot of them. So they really have to realize that this is beneficial for them because they have biological food that is seasonal, it's regional. Price is, of course, always a topic. Why do people buy still at the discounters? Because it's just cheaper. So this has to be also like a financial side for the people. And yeah, the community. I mean, when you have this kind of area, you're already kind of a community. And I think something like a community garden, community farms would really add to that people feel like a community and feel responsible for their food there.
So it's somehow, I hear from all of you that community is like part of it. And that is kind of also the difference to discounters or retail, that you're flexible, that you go to the shop and you decide yourself what you want and when you want it. So I would love to hear maybe also from you, Anton, if you're thinking about food sharing soon, at some stage, maybe in a couple of years, what would be somehow the vision of food sharing? Because actually it is about reducing the food waste that discounters actually produce. But at the same time, it is kind of your ambition, right?
Well, first of all, we're not called food saving, but food sharing. It's not about picking up as much surplus food as we can, but it's about building like a more sustainable and communal food system, right? And so what we can do to get there is to make people understand how we even like what we even eat. So it kind of sounds a bit stupid, but once you grow like for the first time a tomato on your balcony, for example, you notice how much work and time and water and sunlight and so on goes into those few tomatoes. And you, for the hell of it, you wouldn't want to throw away those few tomatoes. And that kind of translates towards food that you get from a supermarket as well. If you know how much resources went into those foods, especially animal produce. I mean, with meat, it's a whole different story than with throwing away a tomato. If you like not only know the numbers but really have an emotional feeling towards how these foods are produced, then you will not throw away as much, and you will like for sure get like you will use food differently. And so that's what we try to combine with this practice of saving food, is to like use food properly to parallel to like trying to reduce the amount of food that we can even save, because like the best thing would be to not even produce stuff. We have this example of like, I don't know if you know Bärchenwurst, like it's this bear formed sausage, which is like everything wrong with the food system in one product. The thing is, the problem isn't that this thing is thrown away, it's the problem that it's even produced, right? So in many cases we try to think about like how we can get to the root of the problem, and then how to like build alternatives, but still be in touch of what the system currently does and where we can use current surplus. Because oftentimes we talk about like this scarcity, even though currently we mostly have an abundance of surplus food that isn't even used.
That's, I mean, it's bringing all that back to the point of how do we produce food, and also how we actually develop solutions also in the upcoming 2 days. We are already with a view on the time. We still have some interviews left, so I would love to thank the three of you for your perspectives, and would love to keep on the conversations probably during the lunch for some more insight. Thanks a lot. So we are getting to the last program item. And I need my last few pages. I left here. Because we do have some more insights from two different perspectives. We have a third one, actually, who won't be there today, Josephine Hansen, also from Christianstadt, who is not able to join us today because of travel issues. And then we do have, they are not together here on the slide, but Evangelos and Julia work together and show us something about the olive oil production, which I'm excited about. But we will at first start with crab control, all the way from Italy. So please come on stage, the team of crab control. Here you go. You will have a microphone. Is one enough? Here, I have a microphone here. There you go.
Can you hear me without a microphone?
No, you have to use it for the for the live stream, please.
Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Michele Bellini and I'm from University of Ferrara. In particular, I'm an ambassador of colors, so I already know this kind of association and alliance. And the fun fact is that with colors, we start with a collab on Blue Crab in the University of Ferrara. And from this, we develop and we began interest to this kind of problem, and we try to resolve this kind of problem. In particular, I don't know if somebody of you knows about blue crab, what kind of this is, no? No, but perfect. So, blue crab is an invasive species. I don't know if is an invasive species in which cause a lot of problem. For example, this is the blue crab. For example, he started to eat a lot of clams, shell, and other kind of species. Yes, and in particular, he created a lot of damage to the economy and local economy in North Adriatic of Italy. So we have to try to find a solution to get this kind of problem out of our zone. In particular, we try to develop. So the idea, it was at least develop a kind of machine in which we can automate the, how can I say, the process to work the crab and put the crab on the market to transformate this kind of problem in an opportunity, in particular to a food opportunity, because in this case we try to sell to other people and try to make the crab and food opportunity to how can I say to what? Okay. Some voices to make okay. Yes, if
which has been, kind of destroyed from the blue crab.
Yes. Yeah. What you want to do something? We are more organized.
Yeah.
We are very organized on this presentation.
Yeah, Michele said almost a lot. So we projected this machinery. We talk also with the local cooperatives, which are facing this problem the most. For example, we've been to Goro, which is a little city on the Adriatic Sea near where we live, which has a really big mussel industry, which has been destroyed from the blue crab. From the blue crab, our idea was good. I mean, the feedback was really nice, but we had to pivot for another project at a certain point. No, go back one. Yeah. Because yeah, it was a big project and we needed institutional help that we couldn't have in some ways because there was another company which started a bit before us. We didn't know about it. So we got suggested to just try something else. So since we started with working with fishermen of our zone, we kept we kept working with them. We listened to them, and okay, go on. And since we like the circular economy talkative talk right now, we try to think on how to help our local fishermen sell directly to the restaurant without the middlemen. So right now, in our particular local economy, fishermen are facing a crisis in general over the blue crab in general from the sea, from the economy in our part of Italy. So we wanted to try to make them sell directly to the restaurants, as I said. Since for the low-end bureaucracy, they have to declare everything they fish every day, every night, and they are already used to that. We are making, and something is already live, a software to help them to digitalize what they fish and make it available for the restaurants to buy even before the boat goes back to the port. Okay, so yeah, the project is pivoted. So right now this is called FishDit, and the demo is live. We can go on the website right now.
If you want, you can scan the QR code, and if you can try the website.
So fundamentally is not only just for okay, so in Italy the law permits to sell on the bench just a part of the fish you get. So since there's, as our colleague said before, the law doesn't really you have to go and see what blocks your road. We have a no. Can I? Yeah, thank you. Okay. So the software is really straightforward. You can log in as a restaurant or as a supplier. If you're the supplier, you're integrated with the software and the system that the government already gives to the fishermen. So you already declare what you're fishing, and the restaurant can get real live a way to buy the fish and have it fresh in their restaurant. It's a demo. This is the demo. We already have a contact with the logistics supplier because it's not easy. It's not an easy product to supply to the from the sea to the entroterra. Yes. But
we need to have to
keep the fresh chain.
Yes,
obviously
the fresh chain is a big problem because you have to keep the fish at cold temperature, so you can't get the fish hot because
in this way we can also make network from the restaurants directly to the fishermen, and we have less waste in this way because in our part of Italy, reusing and having the waste, you can make a lot of recipes. It's part of our culture. So probably a lot of fish that normally couldn't be sold on the market. In this way, having a direct contact is more easy to not having waste more easily. And
okay, we developed this application because we want to increase the marginality between the sales between the restaurant and the fishermen, because usually the fishermen just they go into the auction of the fish, and then there is the sales who get the percentage, and then it's the fisherman is a hard work to do all of the day, Then you have to go there even if it is like rainy day or sunny day, or even during the winter, you know, in the sea. Then it's very complicated. Then we want like to increase the marginality of them, and maybe even develop the kilometer zero, because yeah, we make a lot of research about the fishery industry, and the most of all of you consume is iced fish. And even us in Italy is like, you know, kind of island, but semi-island, but even we consume the most, the 70%. If you read online, you can read that the 70% of the fish you consume is iced, yeah, you know, then.
That's such an interesting pivot you were doing. I will just join you on the stage for one last question, because you were pivoting from crab control to this platform. What are your next steps looking ahead? What were you saying, please, with the microphone?
Okay, so right now we have a really close contact with fishermen, with our marina of Comacchio, because we are from near Ferrara and Comacchio. We are testing with some restaurants, so we are live right now. It's not easy to scale. It's not an easy. We are facing a lot of technical problems. You know, the most part is logistics, and also the mentality of the fishermen, because you can find someone who can understand that and go on, and he understands, okay, but some doesn't.
Yes, the problem is the digitalize the part of the cell. So if you want to make this work, you have to convince the fishermen to use smartphone, use application online. So it's not an easy thing to do in the mentality of actually fishermen.
So it's especially about talking to the fishermen, to the people who actually do the job, and bringing your solution to them. That's right.
We are lucky because where we're from, there's a lot of generational change. So the son and the children of the fishermen still keep doing that work. So it's easier. We found people who want to test
with the new
and,
generation.
Do that with us. See, yes.
Thanks so much, the three of you, for this presentation. I'm also excited to hear more, maybe for lunch. So thanks, and let's see. Yes, I'll take this one. I'll hand it over. Yeah, you can give it to me as well. Thanks. Because we have the last presentation ahead now. And that's going to be Julia Lakedakis Stefanou and Evangelos Chrysafoudis. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Here's your microphone. Hello. Thanks for being here. There's another one for you. I'm so excited to see, really, from actually fork to plate for here, from farm to fork. That's what I wanted to say. Because you are here with your oil. Maybe you can share a bit, how did you actually come to sell olive oil?
Okay. I'm Julia. I'm living here about 30 years in Paderborn. And I actually, I don't be an olive farmer from the beginning. This is a family project that began 10 years ago. My family belongs many olive trees. And we always had our own olive oil for us at home.
So like we have apple juice probably here in Germany, yes. You had olive oil.
Yes. I never needed to buy olive oil in the market or everywhere. And we are people, we cook at home very, very much. And we have many friends, and we always cooked with friends. And our friends asked, where comes this olive oil? This seems not like this. It was only in tins, 5-liter tins or bottles without a label. But our friends said us, this tastes different as the olive oil we bought in the supermarket. And then come the idea, okay, maybe it is possible to bring olive oil from Greece in Germany. We don't started with a business idea or a business plan. We started only because people and friends of us loved our olive oil. And we have the olive trees, but we have no possibility to make the olive oil alone. So we start to collaborate together. Yes, this is, and this was very, very easy because we know each other, we're friends, and that was a beginning without big business plans or something like this.
So you also brought some pictures from the harvest. Maybe
Yes.
we can have a look how it looks like in Italy harvesting. Maybe you can say, is it your family or who is actually harvesting it for
Yes.
your olive oil?
Yes, also in the pictures there is family and also workers. But what you see here is a hand harvest. This is the way we are harvesting. We don't use big machines or a big harvester. And this is very, very important for the quality of the olive oil. Yes, this is the family. My family. My parents, they live in Greece since 2005. And my husband, my daughter, we live here in Paderborn.
So are they all part of the whole story? Like how does the family and the like the process of harvesting it, is it always the case that you're doing it together as the community, or how does the Pangaea olive oil actually come to?
We do it in the family, but we need at the harvest time we need some harvest workers, and we harvest per hand, and we try to bring the olives in about 3-4 hours to the olive mill, so that they are very fresh, and we can take a very good quality, a very high quality olive oil.
Great. We will now look at the mill because you have a video on your website. I just brought it, and maybe you can comment a bit about it. Because what we're seeing, I will turn off the voice. What can we see here? Maybe you can share a bit about the mill.
That we have to understand is 100% natural product. We don't add nothing in. So arrive to your table, natural, like comes out. Okay, so the only thing we have to do is to separate the oil from the waste. And we have high-end product. And if we behave with care and with love, we make it much better. So it's a process like the orange juice you make to your home, like this, nothing else, nothing cooking, nothing adding, nothing take it out, nothing. So this is olive oil. It's one of the most natural products in the market. That's it.
How did you come to build such a mill? Why? What was your way of founding it?
I should tell the story.
Yes.
We start to collaborate together before the mill. Okay. Because the quantity of the olives from Juliet was not enough. We put our olives. We collaborate with other mill. We product the oil. So we send the oil to in bottler. He put it in the bottle and sent it to Germany. So it was 2018, and the year it was not good from the side of the quality. So he decided to change our oil with his lowest quality of olive oil belong to him. So we start to have a fight altogether. What about we gonna do, eh? And then we decide to take all the business to our hands. To build a mill, we have the trees, to fix the in-bottling line, and to finish to collaborate with people we don't trust anymore. So this was the reason we built this mill.
So actually, this is really the starting point of Auguston as well.
Yeah, because it was the main idea. It was to find someone else to collaborate, or to take all the line to our hands.
So are you then also providing the capacity to other olive farmers?
Yes. Look, try to imagine. We press more than 3,000 tons of fruit every season. That means 400, 500 tons of oil. But that oil belongs to farmers. Okay. For our oil, we have our own trees. We know, for me, the magic word is traceability. It's like that they are doing here, and they cultivate their own fruits, their own vegetables. For me, this is the magic word, to know from where come that you put on your table. And that we try to do. We know the trees, we cultivate the trees, we product the oil, we put the oil in the bottle, so we have the full responsibility of the product.
So who's then your customer? Are they especially in Greece or all over Europe?
No.
How is it actually right
Look,
now?
in Greece, everyone has a cousin who has the best oil.
Sure.
So the business of to sell olive oil in Greece is impossible. So we have customers everywhere else except Greece.
Probably also not Spain or Italy.
In Greece, you can only sell industrial made olive oil for the supermarkets, not for B2C. It is very difficult.
We are number one in the world in consumption of oil, 25 liters per person per year. Okay. And
the consumption, like oh wow.
Yeah, it's too much. More than the Italians, more than Spanish people. But this oil is not in bottling. Okay, it's without control. It's between farmers and families. Most of these oils are good. Okay, most of the people care about. But it was a period the oil cost 10 euros. Okay. So everything it was yellow and liquid and looks like olive oil, you can sell it for 10 euros per liter. So it's kind of tricky. But anyhow, it's a long way about the quality of olive oil. Not even us in my country, we're supposed to know about olive oil. We don't have any idea about good olive oil. So there is a long way.
So the way you are going together, or also the olive oil you are selling, how are you actually proceeding with that? Is it also somewhere in the supermarket, or how can we actually find or buy your olive oil?
We have an e-shop, online shop.
Online shop, yeah.
Yes. This is the main channel for selling the olive oil. We go to special markets, food markets, not every week, but about 20 times in a year in special food markets or farmer markets or something like this. This is a very good channel why people can try the olive oil, can taste the olive oil. They can taste the difference to olive oils they can buy in the supermarket. And these are customers, they buy once and they buy again and again and again. And they recommend it also to other people, to friends and family and etc. These are the both biggest channels. Here in Paderborn, we are located in Paderborn, so we are here in 2 or 3 locations in Paderborn also. We have small, I call it Pangea Depot in Borchen. People can come once a week there and buy there the olive oil. But the most important channel is for us the online shop, and this is also the biggest challenge we have, to make this online shop attractive and to have more customers on the online shop.
We are also having one of these challenges in our workshops coming soon. So maybe it's interesting to hear what is the added value you have to other olive oils, maybe also even other premium brands. What can you communicate or show what others probably do not have?
You want from me or from Julia?
You can both answer if you, yeah.
For me, I think we are not a big factory, so we support the food chain, traceability. We know the farmers, we know the trees, we know everything. So if you start to become bigger, I think you lose that part of process. Okay, so you lose, for me, a basic part of high quality product. I think this is because you can be PGO or PDO or organic. This you can find everywhere. The important thing is to know exactly what arrived to your table.
So that's the added value. I understand that you actually know the trees and the olives you're harvesting and producing.
Every time growing up, the quantity of the olive oil we want to in-bottling and to sell. So growing up, the team of the farmers we have below of us, we control them. We know exactly how they cultivate. We work only 2 months, and that 2 months support to work the rest of the year. So there is no time for mistakes.
Right.
And for us, it's important to have the best quality of olive oil and not the highest quantity. This is also important.
What is your, like the last question before we are going to lunch now, what is your wish for the upcoming days probably in the development of solutions? What would you wish for?
I think it is very, very important that people learned to know what is good and healthy food. And I think this is something we need to begin with it with our children in the school. I believe that is the best way to change something in the art, how we live and how we eat.
So another advocate for education on the topic of food production. That's amazing to hear.
This is the main point.
That's the main point, and I guess
consumers.
I guess here in a university building and with the upcoming days, it's the perfect setup. Thanks a lot to you guys for sharing the information on your olive production. And we are at the end of the morning session. We dived a lot into this idea of frugal innovation in food production and green transition from very different perspectives. Thanks so much for being here as panelists. I'm looking into the round right now. Thanks for standing here and sharing your stories and your knowledge with us. And I'm handing now over to Christine for the upcoming program items, I guess.
Yes, thank you. I should turn on the mic. Yes, thank you so much. No? No? No?
Yes. No, we heard
Okay.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Leah. Let's give a big round of applause to Leah and her moderation. I think we also have a little something for you.
Oh, thanks so much.
Before we head over to a wonderful lunch that the Studierendenwerk has prepared for you in the catering room, I would like to ask you to take all your belongings with you, and please also take the trash and all the other glasses or bottles or whatever you had with you, because we have to clear out this room during and after lunch. And we will start over there in this workshop room at 2, and Alena and I will guide you through the workshops then. Hope to see you there.
Thanks a lot and enjoy your meal.